Good evening, and we're coming to you live from day 9 of Houston Texans training camp alongside Zach Tawatari. I'm Luis Ortiz, and Zach, the team right now behind us, offense on this side of the fields, getting ready, going through some individual work. But first, we saw them kind of go through something that they really haven't done so far through training camp, something different today to begin.
Yeah, it seemed like they were going through some play-like situations. You could say something similar to maybe some kind of an install. It was pretty cool to be out there. We, of course, were not allowed to film it because they want to keep that stuff a secret. Why wouldn't they? But yeah, it was cool to see the formations out there, see the guys out there. Got to see a couple of running plays that hopefully the Texans are going to want to see more of during the season.
And who we really want to see more of is C.J. Stroud. And yesterday, DeMeco Ryans talking about him, about how he's a mobile quarterback, but he thinks the biggest thing is going to be his decision making, right? How he can identify when to make certain plays, when not to make them. And also he talks about he can be that traditional pocket passer, be precise with his passes, but also be able to run. Now, can we see that at training camp? Can we really see what CJ can do this year? Is he going to have a bounce back season? Will we see that here during training camp, or is that something we see until the season starts?
I think one of the things that I personally like to look for in training camp is timing, right? His timing with his receivers, because everything only speeds up when you get into the game. So you want to see that things are on time with him, right? And what we've seen so far in camp, it does appear that he's pretty on time with his receivers. He's looked sharp so far to me.
And you mentioned the receivers. How about Tank Dell, right? Who everybody's excited about his comeback. It's been a while since he's played after he suffered that knee injury back in 2024. What's going to be his role in this offense? Something that we have to, keep an eye on, right? Because it's a deep wide receiver room. You talk about Nico Collins, J.D. Higgins, probably your wide receiver 1 and 2, and then number 3 spot, maybe Jaden Noel, who everybody thinks he might be the number 3 guy. But then you have, guys like Jared Wayne, who you're going to talk to later on today, one-on-one, who's making plays, Lewis Bond making plays. So how does Tank Dell come into the mix?
Well, I think what I really liked seeing from Tank Dell in his rookie year with him and CJ, number one, is they have great chemistry. There's no question about that. They're great friends on and off the field. That certainly helps. But I think one of the places they best used him was in those short passes, because he was able to use his speed and take off through the gaps throughout the middle of the field, second and third level. So hopefully we'll get to see more of that.
And you talk about chemistry. We've talk about Jared Wayne, a guy that you've pointed out that CJ seems to like. He throws to him. He seems to have a connection with him. He finds him. He's making plays. Now it's going to be maybe a good headache to have for Nick Caley as far as the offense. Does performance out here at practice trump the depth chart, the pecking order, right? Because you have them penciled in, quote unquote, your starters, but if a guy's out here performing, does he kind of get into the mix?
Yeah, I mean, one thing you can't dispute is that you've seen 89 Jared Wayne making a lot of plays throughout this training camp. He is a big-bodied receiver, and you always want to have that. So how much he gets mixed in, I think we're going to have to see that in the coming weeks through the preseason games. You'd imagine he'd get some playing time, but we'll see. Well,
we're going to ask Nick Caley about it today, because the coordinators will talk after practice. That's a wrap from here from Houston Texans training camp day 9. Zach Tawatari, Luis Ortiz, reporting for KHOU 11 News.